Yeah, I can hear you. Kind of over here.
Who's Matt? So I have Matt to your interviews, I guess.
It was just you good sound.
Okay.
So he's just doing live picture.
All right.
I think. All right. So if you see something you want to grab,
Yeah.
no, this doesn't surprise me. I mean, that's what's happening when you go for conspiracy. It's hard to prove.
Alright, you got him.
I mean, I'll press there. We'll get some sound, and then I can go to Oregon City. And then you can worry about live shot, and I can worry about. Who's this guy over here?
He's just been out here for a while. He's been playing this morning.
I got video of him.
Okay.
Celebrating.
Ranchers that wanted to know what their rights were, what they could do.
Heads up, we got somebody coming out.
She's asking what they do for me.
Guys, you're still blocking it. You gotta move. You gotta move. Stop blocking it.
Congratulations.
Corey, where are you? Corey. Corey, where are you?
These wonderful people. We've been riding on the shoulders of a giant. All these wonderful people across this whole country have been our strength and our courage through this whole trial. And I don't really
I'm guessing. But like,
we came to Oregon, to Harney County, seeking justice.
I mean, I have a problem with that. I was there.
And we found it today. We even found it in a federal court building. Through the looking glass. We even found it through the looking glass here in the federal court building. This is one of the extremely rare occurrences. I don't know if you are aware of it. A rare occurrence for innocent verdicts to be rendered in a federal case. Because most of the cases are rigged. So this is a stunning victory for rural America.
What's next for you, Neil?
Extremely humiliating defeat for a corrupt and predatory federal agency.
That doesn't give you...
Thank you.
Neil, what's next for you?
Dinner.
Go home and walk my dog.
Neil, this is Albert tonight with the Seattle Times. Sorry, you
got a hard wire on this thing?
You said this is a big victory for rural America.
Did you renew faith in the process?
Go ahead, go ahead.
That gives me a renewed faith in the American people, the good sense and decency of American people. Because I had that all along.
Up in the air, and it's a relatively minor charge.
You didn't show the Hawk story. And you saw the Hawk story.
Jeff Dances over there.
Here is one of the defendants.
Some of Dad's famous spaghetti or what, you know. I'm from California. They go, this is California style stir fry. I'm pretty like my sauce patat is pretty good too.
Do you hope this whole thing brings more people into the discussion about rural problems and the fight over land?
Yes. Well, of course, this has been one, if nothing else, this Malheur attack from the beginning.
I couldn't agree.
Everyone said that's articles in National Review.
They released David Price.
Defend Rural America.
It was supposed to.
It takes that long to let them out.
We'll be here. We'll be here.
All of them complimentary. But that's quite all right. Some of these other
They want to hit us. Should we fire up? It's up. Powering up now.
This, of course, is going to send shockwaves through the whole rotten structure of the federal land so-called ownership. And we are in a lawful, peaceful means to continue this.
Yeah, it was.
They had him. And the commercial decided they were going to take him in. Allow that to happen now. Now it's not working. I'm really upset about it.
Yeah, so it is.
Pardon me? The U.S. Marshals came in and said, and all the attorney was doing was trying to get paperwork because he still represents them. He said, bring me the paperwork that shows that you have authority to take him out here. And they didn't have any paperwork. They didn't bring it to him. So now Mumford, and now his other attorney, Morgan Philpott, has gone to
Give
see
me
what the paperwork is and whatever it is that they have that they might be able to hold him on. But for them to tackle him and chase him in the courtroom was unreal. It's like a mob.
That's what I'm most happy about.
How's the wife? Has the wife appreciate it?
She did.
Have a victory and then to have kind of assault.
We're so happy and we're in tears because we're thrilled because we know we're innocent. We didn't do anything. They drummed this whole thing up, and then all of a sudden they
because
do
that's
something nasty.
true and all.
Continually
Appreciate
goes on.
it.
It was easy for us
If
to show
America
up
doesn't
here.
stand up, this is what we have going on in the federal court. We have no separation of powers. Where's the separation of powers, people? Where's the separation of powers? We have to have that. Because it's what our Constitution is about. That we don't have this kind of mob going on, and we've got it. We've got to restore our Constitution and bring us back to the 200 years of peace that we've had. We don't have it. We've allowed it to lie. Yes, in fact, there is. And in fact, all the evidence.
What do you think the patriot movement?
Basically, he was acquitted. He's a free man, and they were going to keep him in custody. And Marcos was trying to argue that because.
Specific charges that include beyond yeah.
Wake up! Wake up! It's absolute adultery bringing you one. How many charges? There's a range of possibilities for how to deal with,
For example,
people have taken our resources
in building. Yeah.
I mean, that's happening. The whole Western United States are full of resources that would pay off our national debt. Our $20 trillion debt would be paid off with the resources that are under the ground of these Western United States. Why do you think they want them? Why do you think they're selling yellow cake and giving it to Russia and giving it to China, our enemies? Why are they doing that? And we have to say we are so grateful for the patriots and for those jurors who spent their time and we know it's a great sacrifice. And we're so grateful. We're in tears because we're so happy that they weren't and they weren't intimidated.
Extraordinary day. My pleasure.
Yeah, sorry.
No, there's nothing to agree on. Because they can't agree on it. It's all from
Okay, right now. Okay.
The government shot him in the back 3 times.
Media was to rush out of the courtroom, and once we got down here and started talking to Shauna Cox, she came out
like to continue to follow us on Twitter and follow us on Twitter at Point 16 and right here on Denver News. We're going to end this live. Live now.
I think every one of your cameras needs to have a
Also not guilty of possession of firearms and dangerous weapons on federal
So turn this around because I might have you just poke right in there. Yeah. Yeah, 3, 2, 1. You got me? Yes. All defendants found not guilty of all major Yeah, and it's an emotional scene here. We've heard from some of those 7 defendants that you mentioned. We heard from Neil Wampler, Jeff Banta, Shauna Cox. Again, all 7 defendants found not guilty on all the major charges, which is the count 1, conspiring to impede federal officers from doing their job, and count 2, of possession of a firearm on federal property. Now, there is still one charge that's in question. It's for Ryan Bundy, and it has to do with damaging federal property. But that's a minor charge, all things considered. Really, everyone here was acquitted. Now, we have Shauna Cox right here. We're going to get this mic over to her and see what she has to say on her acquittal.
I don't even know their whole story, but I feel for them because we've been there. We've seen that. That happened in Nevada. They tase people and they beat them up for taking pictures with a camera. I mean, why am I in jail because I took a picture?
Okay, and so what she's talking about right now is we got several reports that after those acquittals came out, Marcus Mumford, Ammon Bundy's attorney, went up to Judge Anna Brown because remember that the Bundys are still going to be extradited to Nevada for some other charges similar to a different standoff. And when he went up to approach Judge Anna Brown, we got multiple reports here that he was taken down and even tased. Now, we weren't able to confirm the tase part, although several witnesses in the courtroom, including reporters, have said that and that he was attacked. And that's what she was talking about right there. And we're going to come over here and see some other occupiers We've got Neil Wampler here as well. We won't get into their interview. Who else we got here? Jeff Banta. I believe he left. He said his first thing he wanted to do was go get a quick meal and then go home and get right to work. It's clearly an emotional day. We've had protesters across the street throughout this entire trial, and they were just screaming free. There were tears, American flags, mini pocket constitutions. Everyone here that was a sympathizer with the standoff is just in jubilation. Again, all 7 defendants found not guilty on all major charges. Now, for now, we'll send it back to you in the studio. Yeah, and you know, Dan, not to cut you off there, but we talked to one of the attorneys, a couple of the attorneys for the defendants, and they said that basically, you know, the federal government, their charge was a little bit too ambitious. The reason that the jurors found all of these defendants not guilty is not that they don't think that they did anything, that they didn't do anything wrong. It's more that they didn't think that they went there to conspire to stop federal workers like biologists on the refuge from doing their job, and ultimately the lawyers here think that's why they all got off.
Because she kind of pushed on it. Yeah. Okay. Well, not great. Hey, Zach.
I know it doesn't go.
Dean just called me.
Wasted on this trial.
Well,
Yeah, that's right. I'm
I don't know who is it.
I mean, I got a live shot, but they haven't put me to a live yet. So.
I think it's a great result. I was afraid that they might try to hold him and Ryan. Which is what they're doing now, trying to hold him and Ryan.
But when you saw that Ammon was not guilty,
Oh, I was thrilled. Then we all knew we weren't guilty. We all knew that the first one, and we knew it. We knew. It brings me to tears. I'm so grateful for the system that we do have a jury system, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
Congratulations. Yeah, I was the last
thrilled for her family. She's such an important part of her.
Great, thank you. And can I get you to just spell your name?
A-M-M-O-N.
I think the thing that shocks me the most is in all these charges. Yeah. Where is bless you too. Bye. I actually
Yeah.
see y'all.
Yeah.
But this is
Back to you guys in the studio.
That's okay, sir.
First heard that verdict.
but I do know Grant, actually. Yeah, I do know Grant. Yeah. The other one, but yeah. Yeah.
Was there any point
That's why they want to stop it in the and you're bringing up one that is pushing this
that was when they first came out of this
Defended after this lawyer's coming out.
They just had to drop it there.
Give me a second.
their emotion.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
They have to be. They run him to the ground, twist him up. I saw there was his leg, twist his arms, twist him down, and then they take him. It was awful. No, and even if they have purchased it, the federal government has to give it back to the people. No, I think that what happened was this was the best so that American people got to the world. We have to have something. They listen. We have to know. We have to have. Sometimes you just have syllables.
I know. There it is. It's all the way down.
And what has to take place sometimes when your government doesn't hold it. That's what president is not great. they could go the other direction and not be but because of the guidelines that were set by the jury instructors that actually said you can't, you know, you couldn't just tell the truth. You couldn't just put them on the stand because they were limited to what they could say. So we were afraid that they said, okay, so the only way you can get into the cell is if you have to testify on something.
Okay, so right there you just heard.
I gotta go find Matt. He's over here.
Shauna!
Hold on, hey.
Do you want me to put that stuff in my car right now?
Mike.
Similar standoff that took place in Nevada on the Bundy Ranch, on Clive Bundy's ranch, and you don't hear from their attorney. Marcus Mumford Marcus Mumford was tackled by U.S. Marshals as he was assaulted that Abbott and Ryan weren't able to walk out the store, promising that they would go to Nevada and show up to court. And he went to go approach Judge Brown. He had his hands up, and then about 6 or 7 hours
I've not been allowed to back or trying to get in to see both my client and Mr. Mumford, and also to see the detention orders that the marshals claim that they have, which they have yet to produce. And I was not allowed to see him for that time. That's correct.
When the marshals attacked by marshals.
And that's what the U.S. Marshals just proved that they're willing to do time and time again in the courtroom.
But what about escalating force inside a courtroom?
And who had to pay for all this, and for these people coming into our national property and occupying it, so that the people who work there can't come to work. What's the message that you have for us?
I would say your peers found them not guilty.
All right, so we're going to continue this live.
That is not true.
Co-counsel of the Ammon Bundy's attorney,
I can hear
Marcus
you.
Mumford, was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals. Have that in just a couple of minutes. next. Stay tuned to Point 6 News.
I can hear you. Hold on. Andrew's getting his IP in.
Really?
Okay.
Going to you first, and they're going to Dally.
Oh, she's here? Oh, nice.
Jen, they want you live. They want you live in like 2 minutes.
Me too. Yeah.
Now you gotta grab it and keep it out of TV, I think. Unless you want to switch off the feed.
What's going on here? Yeah, got me. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Jennifer, Jeff, all 7 of those defendants found not guilty, but one of the attorneys, Marcus Mumford, representing Ammon Bundy, is in custody right now with the U.S. Marshals. The way we're told that this all happened was that after the acquittals came down, Marcus Mumford was upset that the Bundys were going to be extradited to Nevada for the standoff that happened there. He really wanted them to walk right out these doors just like the rest of the defendants, and he was upset. So he went to go talk to Judge Brown and apparently had his hands up. This is what multiple people have told us inside of the courtroom, including reporters, okay, that he had his hands up, and then marshals tackled him, maybe even tased him, so he is in custody right now. His co-counsel is talking about this, says he's never seen anything like this in his career. He's heard about federal government, flexing their muscles, but not to this extent, not to counsel, not to an attorney. Meanwhile, we've heard from Neil Wampler, Jeff Banta, Shauna Cox, all out here, all emotional. Shauna Cox had tears in her eyes as she walked out, a free woman, saying that justice was served here. Again, everyone found not guilty on the major charges. That would be count 1, conspiring to impede federal officers, and count 2, possession of a firearm or dangerous weapon on federal property. Now, there is still one charge pending, but it's a relatively minor charge, all things considered. It has to do with Ryan Bundy and damaging federal property. But again, all 7 defendants found not guilty. Ammon and Ryan Bundy, meanwhile, will await extradition back to Nevada. Jennifer, Jeff. Well, it comes down to the word conspiring, and it really just comes down to the charge itself. And earlier, I spoke with Dan Tilken about this as well. And this is all from attorneys that have tried similar cases. Even hearing from Mike Arnold, Ammon Bundy's former attorney, saying that the charge that the federal government charged the militia with was just basically, it was too ambitious. And the standoff and the militia say that they went to Harney County not to stop federal government workers from doing their job, like marine biologists on the Malheur refuge. They went there because of a state versus federal land battle and what they would call a protest. So ultimately, the jury had to decide, well, did they go there to conspire to stop federal workers from doing their job? And today we found the answer was no. That's correct, yes. Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Another jury comes through. And a few good lawyers.
too? Or did we get everybody?
I got to do a phoner, apparently. I'm just getting slammed here.
Phoner with who?
I don't know. Hold on. Oh, can Grasty talk to us? I'm not doing that right now.
No, dude, you got a 5:30 live show.
I know.
About that. We get this flag.
What he can do about that.
Angela knows, right? Okay. Pretty shit hell of a that much. Yeah. Yeah.
Steve, yeah, that's right. Just after 4, but
Yep. Yep. That's why we've all been here. Very active today. What happened that they're not going to make anything. Are you still live, John?
No, it went dead on me, that live stream, so I just, I'm letting it all start back up.
Share that. Let me share that so we get some more views.
4,600 shares already,
4.95 shares.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And now you're going to get more because I got it.
In case you don't get another hug. That was. I couldn't believe it. I was ready, but I wasn't ready to stop for the answer.
Hey, Mike.
He said we didn't have a constitution left anymore. He said we had no Bill of Rights. He said we had no
Where's the new king?
Are you guys camped out here? Like, can I leave my bag here?
Yeah, we're kind of moving around.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
We've just been nabbing every bit of sound that comes up.
Yeah.
That's a really good guy who's really against the whole
Can anyone hear us?
at the station? Yeah, they might.
all right, I'll play it back. We only have 5:30.
Yes, I know. I'm just keeping the IFB in.
Yeah, just keep it.
And that the jury system really works, and that
Ugh.
thrilled that they could look beyond
Camera down for a second.
the light.
Oh, yeah? Taking this off for a second.
Yeah. You do you.
Back, it's another jury.
thank you very much. And back to you guys in the stadium.
Dang, dude, 209 retweets. I normally get like 2.
Yeah.
They were trying to make the new laws of the land.
Did you talk to David Frye yet?
No, let's talk to him. It's okay. Matt's getting it. Matt's getting it. No, it's okay. David Fry's a skinny. I didn't see him. He might have slipped out, but he's very vocal, so I would assume that he's going to come out pretty soon.
That's another guy that was put.
They got Mumford inside still.
They were all acquitted.
It's amazing, isn't it? Hey, just blows me away.
Yeah. Okay. Live look for break. I'm not going to be in it.
redress of grievance. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is what they wouldn't let Brian Bundy read in the courtroom. Right here. Let's read it in the courtroom. Free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or press, or the right to
How important is it for people to do that? Especially now.
right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. All persons will be held accountable for the
They were like, oh, something's coming down. I'm like, yeah, they just got a question, and then we'll go back to deliberating. Nothing's going to happen today.
Sepulveda starts tweeting, oh yeah, the UAP contacted me, they wanted me to testify. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. No one cares.
What time is it now?
Okay, so they want us to be ready to go live again though before the
Yeah, same. We're going live at 5:30.
Okay.
Are you guys?
5 still on.
Alright, so about 10 minutes away probably.
Yeah.
They're taking off down there. Do we need to follow them? Or what? No?
What's up? I can't hear you. Sorry.
Do we need to follow them?
Who?
Like marching down the street.
No. Okay. Screw that. I'm not marching.
Okay.
got the number. I think I got so the guy that you flew me over on. I got his number too. I thought that was great. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think he's moving. I'm going to the best
I guess we'll set up with everybody else. Actually, I don't really give a shit. I didn't see David Fry, but I mean, I would assume everybody's out. It's already 5:20.
Actually, you could probably just go grab. Let's just go grab from Bob. Literally, Bob's here. Go grab him. Well, fuck, you're already going.
What about the attorney? Is he in custody?
Still in custody. U.S. Marshals.
Hey Megan, it's Reed. How are you?
Yeah. Okay. We're ready.
Since you couldn't be here.
I don't know. There's other breaking news happening all over the place.
Is there other breaking news?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't read Chris Brown's email, but apparently there's breaking news all over Clark, Clackamas, somewhere.
Whenever the first three forget what our moral standards and our principles are, we have the fourth to step up and tell them that regardless of what's what. Okay. Wait, and when you get the top, is that responsibility or is that? Okay, great. Email me the template of that, and then I'll try to get a script in with the agenda and all that stuff. Cool. No problem. Okay.
We'll do this. We'll start here, the center.
Okay. So you want me to go over there?
I may do a live interview with Shauna Cox. She's a defendant. She's right there. No. I don't want her to stand up. We'll just approach her and be more natural. So even if she says no, just talk about how we already talked to her.
David's out tonight.
I guess that answers that question. Maybe he had a warrant or something? Right. Yeah, but that guy just said David Fry's out tonight. Yeah. All right, let me grab my bag.
Over there? What do you want? I don't want to be behind the shot if I don't want to.
What? I don't really care, to be honest.
Oh.
So we'll start pointed that way. Now, they've got VO, too. I heard them see some of it, so...
They've been rolling on me.
All right, they want us up at 5:20. if you get Jennifer in the shot. Like,
Yeah,
they're,
okay.
you know. And then we'll just walk. Yeah, so we'll go that way. Stand by. No, I'm not surprised at all. And this is, from talking to attorneys, from talking to Mike Arnold, who was Ammon Bundy's former attorney. And basically, what it comes down to is that the federal government was a little ambitious in their charge. If you talk to any of the Malheur occupiers, they'll tell you they didn't go down there to impede federal workers from doing their job. They went down there because they had a message about federal and state land ownership, and that's what this came down to. And also, we're going to walk around here. There's still tons of people here, tons of supporters. We know that they've been outside of the courthouse for weeks as this trial has gone on, and they are just all smiles. We've seen some tears. We've heard from some of those defendants: Neil Wampler, Jeff Banta, Shauna Cox. Shauna Cox has been crying tears of joy ever since she got out of court today. And again, all 7 defendants found not guilty on all of those major charges. I do want to point out that there is still one pending charge, and it's relatively minor. It has to do with Ryan Bundy and damaging federal properties, but the conspiracy charge, everyone found not guilty. You've got some people here that are chanting "Free the Hammonds," which is what started the occupation in the first place. You've got other people here that are wearing Lavoy Finicum t-shirts. Of course, Lavoy Finicum is the one occupier who was shot and killed by federal officers. I also want to point out, as it's getting a little loud here, so we'll back up just a little bit. I want to point out that Ammon and Ryan Bundy did not walk out of this courthouse, okay, because they still have charges in Nevada, and they were extradited. They're going to be extradited back to Nevada. And Marcus Mumford, Ammon Bundy's attorney, was actually tackled by U.S. Marshals and taken into custody because he went to go talk to Judge Brown. He felt that Ammon and Ryan Bundy should have been able to walk right out those doors with their co-defendants, that they would promise to go back to Nevada. Of course, that's not the case, and now Marcus Mumford, Ammon Bundy's attorney, is in custody. Back out here live in downtown Portland, Andrew Dimmer, Brookline 6 News.
Changed the defense attorney that got not guilty verdicts. If that isn't
We're at 6 and 6:30. Yeah, why? Yeah, that was our hit. 6 to 6:30.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Haven't touched anything but
We'll have again at 6 and at 6:24. rioters never intended to stop BLM workers or biologists or anyone else from doing their job. While that may have had an effect or a result, it wasn't why they were there. That's what the entire defense was predicated around. And we learned tonight, the jury agreed. We spoke to Neil Wampler, Jeff Banta, Shauna Cox, some of those defendants who were, as you can imagine, all emotional, overcome with joy. And now the Bundys, they didn't get to walk out these doors. They were waiting extradition in Nevada for their previous standoff with the feds. And Marcus Mumford, Hammond Bundy's attorney, was upset by that. He tried to talk to the judge and was reportedly tackled by U.S. Marshals and taken into custody. So again, the Bundys, they may have gotten rough here. They are not free. Not yet.
Yep.
Oh my God, they're praying. Does anybody want to get this? Straight live.
Straight live. It's straight live. Yep. Okay, thanks.
Huh? Sorry.
We're supposed to go to 6:30 to Lewis and Clark to talk to a law professor.
I'm just trying to get the redundancy, the Department of Redundancy Department.
Did you guys reach out to, or have you reached out to Mike Lumber? I did, but he hasn't responded. Well, I think that we're doing this tomorrow.
Oh, I got a response from Adele. Let's see. So I guess you're going with me to both?
Who is?
Jennifer.
Apparently there's a ton of breaking news, right?
No, you're doing the night shift?
It's not breaking news
Kind
at
of.
all. They've known about it since this morning. What?
What is that? Are you doing the night shift? walked out this morning because of all the racism week and stuff. So now tonight they're gonna. Oh, that.
Yeah, we did know about that.
BZOT though. It's a long day.
Hey, great job, by the way. Yeah.
Because I wasn't there.
Matt.
Hi.
I know.
I'm glad you felt that was good. Thank
What?
you so
I
much.
kept saying home, but that's just to see that guy was throwing me. I gotta stop doing that.
No.
Did you bring your own photographer?
Mike's making an appearance on.
New job?
Yes, he did. Those are all of you on the cell phone. I saw that.
Yeah, he put them there.
You guys want a picture together?
Who's your producer?
Haley.
Oh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You're just being way too sarcastic.
That was
I
the
knew
horn.
it.
That was the horn. The horn he was blowing, that was the horn that was used.
You are being nice. No, man, you're the best.
Thompson?
We took a great. Oh, tag it.
When are you live? 6? Yeah, I'm at 6:30, package 11.
Then I have to go to Oregon City after this.
Oh, you're doing that? They're doing that.
Is that Omar's camera? Take a lot.
It's not even natural.
That is. No. You can't. Really? Don't. I don't want that mic in here. Get this one. You have too much fun with that camera. We should have never sold you that.
Where'd you get that?
He bought it off Terrence before he left. He bought it off Terrence.
Yeah, Mom.
And now that's all he does is take it out.
We're gonna go over to the Justice Center.
Okay. Secret view profile picture for Twitter. I like it. It's good. It's colorful. What kind of lens you got here?
Crappy Sigma 2047
Telephone? Nope. Okay.
current stuff.
Let's go to the bathroom.
Go
Hey, come on.
17 to 50.
17 to 50.
It's an APS-C, so it's got a 1.5 magnification thing.
Let's get a 2.8 aperture in. Or, I mean, yeah, it's pretty good for 17 to 50.
That's about as good as it gets.
Hey,
Are we all doing this?
Yeah.
You want to gonna get in on this? Soup, Mike.
Jello.
Yeah.
Get in there. Oh my god. Alright, here we go.
Totally out of focus.
I can't hear you.
Soup, maybe some Jello. What do you want?
Why is it that I can hear? Do you have the other?
Oh yeah, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
I
I'm
probably
hearing
actually-
everything on delay.
Probably because I'm on mute. Turn mute off. Yep. There you go. Here.
Well, Jeff, the question. Well, Jeff, the question was. The question presented.
Nope.
What?
Good? It's good now, right?
Yeah, it's good. Thanks. Well, the question presented to the jury was, why were the occupiers there in the first place?
What did they
the
want
federal
from me?
government.
What do they want from me?
I don't know. A live shot?
They were telling me that.
I like that. The federal government said that they were there to conspire to stop federal workers.
You good?
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
think
walk
so.
back.
Yeah, we're fine.
Run the words. All the words. Are you okay?
Doing their job, the militia, the defendants, said that they were there to stake a claim to the land for the states or the county and not the feds. And the defense repeatedly showed jurors that the occupiers never intended to stop BLM workers or anyone else from doing their job. While that may have obviously been an effect or result, it wasn't why they were there, and the entire defense was predicated around that very notion. And guess what? Tonight, the jury agreed, and we spoke to some of those occupiers that were freed today. Neil Wampler, Jeff Banta, Shauna Cox. They were all very emotional, but as you'll know... are awaiting extradition to Nevada for a previous standoff with the feds. Now, Marcus Mumford, Ammon Bundy's attorney, was upset by that. He thought that the Bundys should have been able to walk out these doors just like their co-defendants. So he approached Judge Anna Brown and then was taken down by multiple U.S. Marshals and taken into custody. So again, the Bundys. Not yet.
Hey, Haley, can you hear me?
She says she's the captain of the ship and the only law is what comes out of her mouth.
The question that was posed to the jury was, why were the occupiers on the refuge in the first place? Yeah, 3, 2, 1. No, notice we didn't. Oh, the mic's not on. The mic is not on. No, it's on. These batteries died. Oh, no, we're good. They got me. Oh, okay. No, it's been on the entire time, though. Is that okay? It's on. They said we're good. Should be fine. Marcus is out. Shit, we gotta go. We gotta go. Marcus Mumford. Marcus Mumford, the attorney.
And of course, also because when he was there was this issue when he was arrested in the first place. He was arrested without an arrest warrant in the first place. So I knew there was an issue about this in the first place. And so I just simply asked for the papers, and then next thing I know, I was being taken down in the courtroom.
Did you raise your voice at all? That's what people were saying. Did you raise your voice when you were talking to the judge, or were you just talking?
No, I was actually leaning down into the mic so make sure that I could be heard.
And then what happened? The U.S. Marshals came up, or the courtroom security came up?
Yeah, the marshals had surrounded me, and then they took a hold of me, and then they said, "Stop resisting." And I said, "Well, what are you talking about? I'm not resisting. You have a hold of me."
Did they fire a taser at you?
Yeah, they tased me.
Did it hit you?
Yeah, it was right. I was already on the ground actually when they tased me.
In all your years in law, have you ever experienced anything like this or seen something like this happen?
Never have seen anything like this, and to be accused of disorderly conduct. I was only asking for papers. That's what I was asking. In other words, if they're gonna keep Mr. Bundy in custody, then just show me that you have the authority, because we had litigated this issue before, and they said they didn't have the authority to modify his release conditions. So I said, well, so show me the authority, show me the papers. That's all.
In all this, did they ever show you those papers?
No, they never did.
Did they charge you with anything? I mean, what happened after you were booked?
Yeah, I was cited for disorderly conduct and for, I think, for resisting lawful order of police or something like that.
What about Judge Brown? Do you think she handled it well? What about Judge Brown during all this?
Judge Brown, I don't know what she was doing, but she and I had a brief exchange after they picked me up off the ground. We had a brief exchange, and I told her how much I respected her and how much it was a privilege to litigate in front of her.
Sir, could you take us through the tasing? How many times were you tasing? Exactly what happened?
You'll have to probably talk to somebody who was watching. I felt the one, and I don't know how many what was, but I'm like, I was already down on the ground when it happened.
How are you doing now?
How about the verdict?
Well, of course, we're very pleased with the we're very pleased with the verdict. Very pleased that justice was done here. That you know that we were able to present our case to and keep in mind, this is what Mr. Bundy wanted from the beginning. He wanted to present his case to the people, the American people, and he presented his case to a jury of his peers, and was acquitted. So he's very.
But he was acquitted of not conspiring to impede federal officers.
Of all charges.
Right, but it's not about his message why he went to Harney County in the first place, which is state federal land.
Those cases are coming.
Well, I don't. I mean, that was we litigate the cases that we can, right? I mean, the cases that are there, and yes, that's what we did here, for sure.
So what do you think looking ahead to the Nevada case? What are you going to do?
Oh, you'll have to talk with his Nevada attorneys down there, and I think he's very eager. He's just as eager to defend himself down there as he was here.
And what will you tell them? What are you going to tell them that you think worked for you in this case?
What?
The great thing about the truth is it's so easy to tell.
Yeah. I mean, I would tell you, we've already started to review the evidence there. The overreach, the same governmental overreach that we saw in this case is there. I mean, we have heard the BLM agents on the cameras talking about how they're going to shoot first and ask questions later there, and that was the approach that they were taking. And so again, this message of government overreach has got to stop, and that's what it's got to stop somewhere. And we're very pleased with the decision we have here, and it'll go forward from there.
Were you expecting Mr. Bundy to be able to walk out these doors if he was found not guilty, which he was?
I knew that is how this system works. is when you get acquitted, you get released, and that's what I knew. And so and if they have an arrest warrant, then show it to me. That's all.
And they never showed it to you?
No, never did.
Have you been able to talk to Ammon Bundy at all?
No, I was taken to a different holding cell.
What are you going to tell him when you talk to him?
Of course, we're gonna talk about what went right. Here,
Marcus,
sure.
we're live now. Can you describe what happened after the verdicts were read?
Okay, well, yeah.
Walk us through that. We're live right now for the viewers.
Yeah. So after the verdicts were read, the court said, hey, you're free to go. But the marshals might have something to say about it. So I said, well, if the marshals have something to say about it, let's see what orders they have. Let's see what papers they have that gives them authority to take him into custody again. Otherwise, Mr. Bundy's a free man, and he should be able to leave.
Moved in,
Yeah, they had surrounded me at that point, and so I just turned to them and I said, guys, show me what papers you have. And the next thing I know, they surrounded me, they took a hold of me, and they were talking about how I was resisting arrest when I was simply, they just had a hold of me, and then they put me, they put me to, they were twisting my legs, they put me to the ground, and then they tased me.
How are you physically?
How was I physically?
How are you physically right now?
Well, I'm not a real good-looking guy. You know, I've never been a real looker.
The force that they may have put on you.
I mean, hey, I grew up on a dairy farm, so am I used to some rough treatment? Sure. You know,
do you think they acted appropriately, the marshals?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't act appropriate. All I was asking for was papers, man. Just show me that you have the authority to take, to show me that you have the authority to take Mr. Bundy in custody.
So they didn't show you that authority. So how is he still in custody?
Well, because they don't have any. I mean, who's going to hold them to account if the people don't, right?
In terms of what was said with the jury, what was that like? With when the jury gave that not guilty verdict, what was going through your mind?
Oh, very, very pleased, very gratified. You know, it's always. I mean, this jury was dedicated.
Hey, Jennifer, Jeff, do you got me here? We have another crew there. Yeah, that's good.
They were live the whole time.
That's good. I was hoping. Let's just both back up. Well, he said that, because all the defendants were found not guilty, including Ammon and Ryan Bundy, that they should have been able to walk out the door just like their co-defendants. And when they weren't, because of an extradition back to Nevada for Ryan and Ammon Bundy, Mr. Mumford, Bundy's attorney, simply said he wanted to see a warrant. He wanted to see some paperwork. When he approached Judge Brown for that paperwork, he says he was taken down and tased. Now, as you can see, he's talking to some reporters here. He spoke to us as well. He's in good spirits. He's okay physically, but that's what this all came down to. It's that the federal government here, the U.S. Marshals, are keeping the Bundys in custody until they can extradite them to Nevada. All Mr. Mumford said that he wanted was paperwork, documentation. Show me that you have the authority to keep him. He says he still hasn't actually seen any of that paperwork, seen an arrest warrant, seen any kind of documentation that would allow the federal government's to continue to hold the Bundys, because remember, again, all 7 defendants here were found not guilty. And if we go back to this case for a minute here, the question that was posed to the jury was, well, why were the occupiers at the refuge in the first place? The federal government argued that they were there to conspire to stop federal workers from doing their job. Meanwhile, the occupiers said that they were there to stake a claim in the land for the states or the county, that it didn't belong to the feds. And the defense repeatedly, showed the jury that the occupiers, hey, look, this is why they're here. They're here because of a state versus federal land ownership. And while some of the BLM workers may not have been able to do their job, that was not their intent. Even though that was a result and that was an effect, it was not the intent, and that's what the entire defense was predicated on, and the jury agreed. And we ended up speaking to Neil Wampler, Jeff Banta, and Shauna Cox, some of those defendants. As you could imagine, they were all very emotional, but again, we didn't get to speak to the Bundys, Ammon or Ryan, because they were not released from custody because they are still facing charges in Nevada for a similar standoff. So we're going to continue to follow that as well. So again, while the Bundys were found not guilty here tonight, they are still not free. Not yet. Back to you. It's interesting. The Bundys went out to Harney County in late December, early January, and fight for the Hammond family. They were a couple of ranchers out there in Harney County that set fire to their land. They were sent to jail, and the Bundys used this kind of as an opportunity to get their message out that the federal government doesn't have ownership of that land, that it actually belongs to the states, and they were prepared to stay out there as long as they could, and we know how it ended. Lavoy Finicum, one of the leaders of that occupation, was shot and killed. He was the only fatality, and then we had this trial. And the question that was presented to the jury, we can't stress this enough, was why were the occupiers there? The federal government says they were there to conspire to stop federal workers from working. The defense argued, okay, yeah, federal workers were stopped from working, but that's not why they took over the refuge. That's just a result. That was not their intent. So the argument here was intent, and the jury agreed with the defense. Again, all 7 defendants not guilty. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. You got that? Okay, yeah, sorry. Mumford just started talking. It was unexpected, so.
Oh, that back's killing my back.
Woo! So you heard that live picture at 6:14? What's up?
Want to interview? Want to get more sound?
No, we got plenty. Just 2 reasons, about Nevada, and
where you going?
Arrested. We're good. What?
Where you going?
It's all the events. You know what? I guess whatever. It's just, yeah.
That's the best thing you can that's the best thing about of being a judge. That's the best thing what you can expect from being a judge is that they're going to care, and they know they're not going to get it right every time. I know they're not going to get it right every time, but let's just keep caring about it. So I shared that with her, and she shared with me that that she had a chance to talk with one of the jurors that was dismissed, and he wanted to convey his respect for me and for the other attorneys as well.
Do you expect this will push the federal government back a little bit? We've heard so much about overreach.
It should. It should. I mean, they got to respect their limits. That's what Mr. Bundy. That's what Mr. Bundy was out there saying. You got to respect your limits because you're limited. And yes, you're for those areas where you have authority, you are the supreme law of the land. But only for those areas where you have authority. And for the rest, you got to respect the limits of your power. That's all.
Shauna Cox, when I asked her reaction, she said she started crying. I think it's very understandable. What was your reaction when you heard those words?
I think it was very gratifying. I think to lay it all out there and to have your client lay it all out there like Mr. Bundy did, where he was willing, that you think about it, that takes faith in your fellow man to say, you know what, I'm gonna tell you my innermost thoughts and feelings, my actions, and I'm going to tell you what I did and tell you what I didn't do, and then you're just asking them to believe you, and so when they do, and you can imagine that's a very gratifying feeling to say, you know what, justice was done here.
On the question of bias, though, are you at all worried about you might get a different verdict here?
No, actually, I respected the way that it came up. It was the jurors themselves were concerned about the bias that was coming into the room, and so for it to get reported like that actually gave me much more confidence in the deliberations themselves. And in fact, that was the sentiment. I don't know if you were there. That was the sentiment of everyone there in the courtroom when because I think at one point the judge says, well, his bias might be in your favor, and Ryan Bundy I think stood up at that point and said, but bias is bias, and I don't want bias in my favor any more than I want bias against me. I want a fair and impartial system, and that's the system we have. That's the justice that was done here today, and that's what I think that would be the message that I would send is justice was done today.
Do you think this is, I was just going to say, we've heard for weeks and weeks now that this distrust of the government and the system. I wonder if this reconfirms maybe some of that trust.
Well, it reconfirms the trust in the people, for sure.
But
That's
right.
That's right. Well, again, the government respects its limits, yes, but it's got to be the people that makes them, that forces the government to respect its limits.
Do you think today's verdict in any way will have a bearing on the verdict in Nevada?
It should, because the Nevada case is based on the same facts, on almost all the same facts as this case. So yes, we litigated Bunkerville here, and you saw the result we get. So it should, for sure.
Are you at all concerned though that it might go the other way? They call it a make-up call, like the federal government saying, well, we didn't get him in Oregon, let's get him in Nevada.
Well, again, that's when it comes down to who is the case in front of. Is it in front of the government? No, it's in front of the people, and the people's judgment will be just as it was here. It'll be just in Nevada for sure.
You think a favorable outcome?
Absolutely. I'm very confident. I think Mr. Bundy very much feels the same way. He was very candid about Bunkerville and about the litigation there. And in fact, the government in this case, the government said, well, and the court kind of cautioned us. Are you sure you want to address these allegations because the government's going to do the same thing? And Mr. Bundy's like, yeah. Why would you even think that I would be differently than that? I'll answer all allegations against me. That's what Mr. Bundy was saying, for sure.
Thank you, Mr.
I know. Sorry.
Cool.
I'm gonna go, Dave.
Live at 6:24. You hear any of that? No live picture. Live at 6:24ish. Okay. All right, let's go down.
Where it is right now, but I remember her saying,
Oh, sorry. All right. Woo! What a day. Tim is still streaming. Should we do a live shot for the stream?
a lot within those 40 blocks. Two.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we're still live here online on Facebook. A lot of information we still have to get to here. You know, we got Marcus Mumford, Ammon Bundy's attorney, that's still talking right now. For those of you who are unaware, he was actually taken down by U.S. Marshals and tased and taken into custody after the not guilty verdict came down for all 7 defendants. And why? Well, it's because Ammon Bundy and Ryan Bundy, which you won't see here tonight because they're still behind bars, are going to be extradited to Nevada for a similar standoff trial that they still have to face. But Mr. Mumford over here was arguing that the federal government didn't have the authority to keep him in custody. He just wanted to see some paperwork. So he says he approached the judge's bench, and the next thing he knows, he was taken down, tased, but obviously is now in good spirits. So let's get back to the trial and the verdict for a second here. The question that was posed to the jury was, why did these occupiers take over the refuge in the first place? So the question there was why. The government argued that they actually conspired to stop federal workers from doing their job. The militia argued that that's not why they were there at all. They were there to stake a claim in the land, say that the land, Malheur County, that refuge, belongs to the state or even the county, but not the feds. Now, obviously, we know that federal workers were unable to do their job during the occupation, and the defense argued that that was just a result, but that does not mean it was their intent, and that the entire defense was predicated on that. It was effect versus intent, and they urged the jury to look at intent here. Did the occupiers go there specifically to conspire to stop federal workers from doing their job? The jury clearly agreed and said no, that's not why they were there. And we also spoke to Neil Wampler, Jeff Banta, Shauna Cox, just some of the occupiers who were let go here. They were in good spirits, as you can imagine. Shauna Cox says her fight's not done, although we did ask her if she had any plans to take over the refuge again or any other piece of land. She said no, but did say that their fight is not over. And we'll go ahead and you can just see the scene here. These protesters, these militia sympathizers, whatever you want to call them, they have been out here since the beginning. They've got their American flags, their pocket constitutions. They've been chanting not guilty. They've been chanting free the Hammonds. They've been chanting free the Bundys. But again, the Bundys were found not guilty. Everyone was found not guilty on the major charges. There actually is still one pending charge here, and it has to do with Ryan Bundy and damaging some federal property while out on the refuge, but that's a minor charge, all things considered. So that one is still pending. But on the major charges here, the conspiracy charges, everyone found not guilty. And even though the Bundys were found not guilty, they are not free, not just yet. They've got a similar battle coming up in Nevada. And for those of you that are still on the live stream, we are going to pick it back up right before 6:30, so just stick with us. There's not really much going on right now. Ammon Bundy's attorney, Marcus Mumford, is still talking to some people, talking to some reporters, but we've already got him. We've got his information. We've got his statement, what happened, his account of being tased. We've got all that and more. Just keep it locked here to the Coin6 Facebook page. Remember, you can follow us on the Coin6 Twitter, and of course, as always, on Channel 6, Coin6 News. Yes.
I got you.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I never know if you guys can hear that.
No, I'm on. All
right. Sounds good. Talking about this not guilty verdict all night. And the question we're getting is why? How could they find them not guilty? Well, let's talk about that for a second, right? It was the question that was presented to the jury. Why were the occupiers at the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge? The government argued.
Short, isn't it? A minute? You got a minute, Andrew? You got a minute?
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, we've been talking about those not guilty verdicts, and we've been getting a lot of questions. Well, why? And that is what we want to get to here tonight. The question that was posed to the jury is why were the occupiers at the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge in the first place? The government argued that they conspired, the occupiers did, to stop federal workers from doing their job. Meanwhile, the occupiers said that they were there to stake a claim on the land for the state and for the county. Didn't belong to the federal government, and the defense repeatedly showed the jury that the occupiers never intended to stop BLM workers, stop marine biologists, and stop all those other federal workers from doing their job. Although that was a result, that was not their intent, and the entire defense was predicated on intent versus result, and the jury agreed, acquitting all 7 defendants. And we spoke to Neil Wampler, Jeff Banta, Shauna Cox, just some of the defendants. As you can imagine, they were all emotional, but as you'll realize there's no Bundys here, right? No Ammon and no Ryan Bundy. That's because they are still behind bars. They're going to be extradited, awaiting extradition to Nevada for a similar case against the federal government, also in relation to a standoff there. So while they were found not guilty, they're not free, not just yet. Back out here live in downtown Portland, Andrew Dimbert for Coin 6 News.
Yeah, we'll take it.